Hi folks, Larry Lemon from Motorama Live and TeamHallnNass here at Mecum, Houston, 2013. I got my good friend, no stranger to you folks that are regulars with Motorama Live. I got my good friend Rob Edwards with me, regular participant and field correspondent for Motorama Live. And Rob, of course, knows way more about British and European cars, especially historic cars, than I have ever even begun to think about. I might be your American muscle guy, but this guy right here is the equivalent of me when it comes to European classic muscle. So Rob is going to tell us a little bit about a car that we just watched go across the block and sell. Very reasonable price considering what it is here at Mecum, Houston, and we just actually got to talk to the new owner about the car a little bit. So Rob, tell us what we're looking at here, and tell us a little bit about why this car is so significant.
So Barry, what we have here is we have a 1953 XK120 SE. So your first question probably is, SE, what does that mean? Well, with the XK120...
Super excited.
Yeah, super exciting is definitely true with this car. The 120s came with 3 different motor options. All of them are the same 3.4 inline 6, but they have different heads. This is the middle of them, rated at 180 horsepower. This car is very significant. The 120s, the XK120s, were built from 1949 to about 1955. Only about 12,400 were built.
Oh, wow.
This car is very iconic. It is called a 120 for a specific reason. It is the first production car to sustain 120 miles an hour.
Now, hold on a second. This is the first production vehicle on the planet to be able to sustain 120 miles an hour.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
When they did the testing on this, Road and Track and a number of other automobiles at the time period did the testing, they were seeing speeds of 106. They took the windscreens off, they put underpants on the bottom.
They put underpants on.
Underpants.
That's, you know, when you're doing 120 miles an hour in a car like this, you know, back in the late 40s, early 50s, underpants are probably a good idea.
When they put the underpants on, removing the windscreen, they were seeing speeds of over 130 miles an hour sustained top speeds.
Wow.
That is incredible for 1949.
You know, that really is something. And to give kind of a quick mention of what goes on with cars today, you can buy one of the most boring cars on the planet, one of the most basic cars on the planet, the Toyota Camry right now, and do a sustained 130 miles an hour. Although you probably get that oh what a feeling trying to wheel a Toyota Camry down the road at 130. You probably need some underpants for that too. But that's neither here nor there. Rob, tell us a little bit about the period that during the era that this car came out. I mean, this is really an extraordinary thing. Passenger cars in Europe and even in America just weren't, they didn't do things like this.
So this car it's a design icon. It really, we're a Jag out there. Before this car, Jag wasn't known as well. You know, Jag was actually started as the Swallow sidecar company, and the predecessor to this car is called the SS100. They didn't make a lot of them. This is Jag's step up to say, hey, look at us, we've got something cool. And boy did they ever. You can see the front fender split here on the later models.
I like the double bumper here.
The double
some
bumpers.
of the other cars that followed this one that's had the big larger single bumper.
Exactly. This is probably one of the more iconic pieces is this front end right here. You get into the later models, the 140s and the 150s, and the front end starts looking different. You don't have the split bumper. You don't have the headlights sitting like this. The grille kind of stays the same. You probably can't see it in this shot. This badge on the front.
This badge is excellent. I mean, the detailing with the Jaguar came popping out. Jaguar Cars Limited Coventry.
Coventry is where the car is made. It's where it's born.
Okay.
It's where the factory was. This symbol right here, to me, is worth money. So
speaking of money, this car just went across the block, and finally took the reserve off because the bid got up there and it kind of stalled out a little bit. They pulled the reserve off and then, pow, this lady jumped in with a bid of, what was it,
$92,000 bought this car.
And this was a frame off restoration from 2012. So this car is really fresh. I mean, when you look at the paint on it, it's a very unique color too. I really love the color of Tom Holland. It's dark red interior and this with this silverish gray. I don't know what color. Do you know the name of it?
I cannot remember the name of this color. I do remember this being an iconic color for this car. If you go and you look online, you're going to see a lot of pictures of it. And this color, you're going to see it in green, the British Racing green, and some of the other colors too. Yeah, for $92,000 for a frame-off restoration, recently done. If it were me, I would have paid $120 plus for this car, and it's going to do nothing but go up in value.
You know, that's an interesting statement because we were standing up on the auction block as this car rolled up on the block, and the bidding kept going, it kept rocking and rolling, and when they said reserve is off, my good friend Rob here really got twitchy. He had his hands in his pockets. His wife Deborah was sitting right in front of him, and I saw his hands start to come up out of his pants. She reached back and actually grabbed his wrist and said, Robert, let me tell you something about what you're not going to do today. And I gotta tell you, you gotta love it, because that's just classic. But the lady that bought this car, it's great. We walked up, she sits down in it, big grin on her face, and said, well, you know, Rob, what was the inspiration to buy this car? And she's like, I liked it. You know, that is the kind of car buyer I like to see at auctions, and that's why we like the Mecum auction. The lady bought the car because it's a beautiful car, and she just really liked it. You know, my money says she's going to get out and drive this thing, and that's what people should do with these cars. You know, it's great to go to the museum and see. It's kind of like going to the zoo and seeing the elephants. I'd rather go to Africa and see them run around the wild. Seeing this thing running around on the streets of Austin, Texas is going to be a real treat. So for those fellow Texans down here, if you walk this car out, stop the couple that bought it and talk to the lady behind the wheel, because man, she is a real treat. And I mean, the car, I got a feeling this car's going to see a lot of miles on it, and that's the kind of thing that we like. Rob, it's amazing. What I mean, give us your final overall impression of this car.
My final impression is this is an extremely nicely done restoration. The paintwork on it is nearly flawless. The chrome looks great. I hope the lady who bought this drives this and doesn't just let it sit for months on you. I hope she takes it out and has the time of her life with it, because you know what? That's what this car is meant to do.
Absolutely. So, you know, as we say about a lot of cars, and this one, even though we haven't driven it, I think I can pretty safely say, and I think Rob will back me up, that if you're driving a Jaguar XK120 SE and you get past, you're not hauling ass.